Okay, hey, Ryan here with CoinDripper.com. Welcome to my 1% a day or 35 times a year crypto trading system. First thing I'll say is that I am not a professional trader at all. I don't really know what I'm talking about. If you lose money doing this because you listen to what I said and you follow the system, it's your fault, not mine, all right? So we got that out of the way. Do your own homework and see for yourself whether you like this and whether it's going to work. What I'm going to do in this video is just show you kind of how to use it and run through the points that you'll see down below. First off, this strategy is a modified version of the approach taken in Jason Kelly's stock market system from the book, The 3% Signal. So you're going to want to go ahead and read that, at least the beginning of it, so you get a sense for what's going on. But basically, it's a trading system that plays off the volatility of stocks. In Jason's book, he tries to earn 3% per quarter. I've modified it to do an aggressive 1% per day, knowing that trading fees are relatively low in cryptocurrencies and that cryptocurrencies in general are really, really volatile, way more volatile than stocks. Next, this guide assumes you already know some stuff about cryptocurrency. You already have exchange accounts and the basics of how to use an exchange. There are videos out there. You can Google how to trade crypto and learn about that. But this is a little more advanced. If you're totally new, a lot of this isn't going to make sense, so you can just come back when it does. Next, 1% daily returns might not sound impressive, but compounded, you'll double your investment every 72 days and 35 times your investment in a year. Just to let you know the power here, 1% is really, really, really aggressive. And as far as I've seen so far, I'm a few months into this system personally. It's holding true. It can work whether you're in a bad market or a good market. And I'll explain that more in a second once we go through the spreadsheet. So here are the setup steps. Buy the 3% signal and read it. Okay, so you're going to want to get that, get it on your Amazon Kindle or whatever. You're going to download a spreadsheet and open it in Excel or Google Sheets. I built it in Google Sheets. It should open up nicely there in Google. Choose 3 to 5 cryptos and allocate an amount you want to dedicate to each one. So say you have $5,000 to start with, and you say, hey, I'm going to do 3, I'm going to do 1,500 each. Well, let's say $6,000, you're going to do two each. Doesn't really matter. Take your $2,000 for each coin, and then by 75% is the number I've been using. You can play with that. I think in Jason's book it's 80%, but buy about 75% of the allocated amount worth of each coin. So 75% of 2,000, and leave the rest in Bitcoin, US dollars, USDT, or some other pegged asset of your choosing. Now, what I just said will make a ton more sense once you've read the 3% signal, but basically you need to leave some cash aside for each coin that you trade with this system so that when dips happen, you can buy back up to the signal line. Next, you're going to record the amount of coins purchased at the amount of purchase. So at this point, let me jump in here to one of my sheets. Here we go. Here, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. So your first thing you're going to do is you're going to record the date, the total coins you bought, how much you bought them at. Now this can be, the price can either be in Bitcoin or it can be in US dollars. Personally, my goal, I believe in the long-term future of Bitcoin, so my goal is to just build up my Bitcoin stack. I don't really care where Bitcoin goes up and down. I care where my altcoins go relative to Bitcoin and how many Bitcoin worth of money I have. But you could easily do this in dollars too and translate it if you want. And then this field will calculate automatically your current value. This is in Bitcoin. And then the target value on day one is going to exactly match this value. So those numbers will be the same on day one. Your action on day one will be nothing. This tells you how much to buy or sell. And then these two fields will be irrelevant, so I have them blank. Now, let's go ahead and walk through what happened here. I think maybe I must have started this like on the 11th or the 10th, maybe right there, but and have that wrong. But anyway, the next day I checked, it was at 1600, the price had gone down to 1703 Satoshis. And the reason I chose this chart, by the way, this particular one, is because this shows what happens in a bad down market. This is this is mid-January when I'm recording this, mid to late January. And all of January, much of January, the past few weeks have been very bearish relative to the few months running up now. So you can see what this does to not only help you earn your 1%, but to help you save in a down, to not feel so bad when things are going down aggressively. Anyway, so the amount changes, the price, I record that right here. So day 2, the price in Satoshis is 1703. That calculates my current value. You can see that the multiplying here. And then my target value is going to be 1% more than the day before. And this is all built in. All you need to do is drag the formula down like this as you go to new columns. You grab that right corner and you drag down. Oops, that didn't work. it'll grab and steal. This has already been calculated. That's why I did that. But basically, you're going to copy the same formula down. And if you know anything about spreadsheets, this will make sense. This field is 1.01 times the field above it. And then my action is to either buy or sell based on how the current value relates to the target value. So my action here, if it's a positive number, that means buy. If this ends up being a negative number, it's time to sell. You see, I have a lot of positive numbers here because it's been so crappy the past few weeks to market, but we'll get to that. So this tells me to buy 0.026. I go ahead and do that, and then this column just tells me how much I'm up or down. I'm down 0.05 in value, considering my current value and the amount I've laid out. And then my return on investment, that's what ROI is, percentage. I've lost 39% here. This must have been right at a dip when I did this. I bought app coins at a really high, this is the coin app coins, and then it just started going down. So instead of panic selling, what I did was, you see what I did here, I started to buy. Next time I looked, it was like a week later. I was doing some traveling and stuff. What I did was my total coins after I bought here went up to 749. The price went down a little more still. Did the same thing. One thing I changed, since I didn't look for a week, I just did 1% a day, roughly, and I just did 1.07 times 7 days, right? Made 7%. That's not exactly 1% a day with compounding. Close enough. You don't need to be exact here for this to work. So 1.07. So the difference there, I had to buy more. So I bought more. My ROI went down a little more, and it kept slipping. Now this takes a lot of discipline, and most markets are not going to be like this. Instead, they're going to go, up and down, hopefully a little sideways, hopefully a little up, but some of the time you'll be sliding down like this, okay? So went down, kept going, right? And here, about 3 weeks later, I have lost 58% of this particular coin. Now, keep in mind, the month before I did, I made 100% a day some days over and over again. But I wanted to show you the worst case scenario, right? So here we are. Worst case scenario, I'm down 58%. I'm continuing to buy right here, minus 58. And then in this last one, I want to show you what it takes to get back to break even on the ROI percentage. Because I've been buying, basically, if the price goes back up to 1,500 Satoshis, that would have represented a 25% drop roughly from my initial buy. You see what I'm doing here? I was initially in here. The price has dropped 25%. But because I've done this, I am at break even. Now, look what happens, and I know this will happen eventually because I did my research. I know that this coin has good, there's a reason why this coin, you should only get in the coins that have a reason why they may go up long term. And I know that eventually, it might take months, might take years, it'll get back to this 2116 level up here. So what I'll do is I'll go 2116 just for laughs. And if I get this coin back to where it was the day I bought it in price, I will have made 108% ROI. Basically, I'll have doubled my money, even though the price stayed the same as it was the day I bought it. And that's what I want to show you here. This system, even though I've advertised it as a 1% a day system, is also a very good risk management system, and it will give you some discipline and something to, like a frame of reference, something to follow so that you don't panic sell stuff that is eventually going to come back up. And it really will come back up if you're investing in the right coins. Let me show you another one here. This is DNA coin. I bought this last week. Again, things were still going down. But this morning when I woke up, I was sitting on 3,398. And what I found was there was some news. I think I bought this because I heard it was going to be listed on a new exchange about a week ago, right? And you'll see that the price spiked. It had gone down to 600. It spiked up to 911. And what happened was, at this point, I had made 83% on my money in just a week. Now, this is more of a typical situation if you get into sideways moving coins that nobody's talking about. If you avoid the hype machine and you just do your own research and get into things that you think are interesting, things will stay steady for a while, but in these markets, you'll get a spike. You probably know this. Like somebody will start hyping, it'll get pumped, or there'll be some good news. They'll release some of the tech and kind of move on to the next step in what they're trying to do, and you'll get a spike like this. What I tend to do, just a tip, was when I get a spike, I was tempted to do it this morning. I haven't fully done it. I follow the system, but generally, if this reaches 100% right here, right? If I double my money, I'll close out a sheet. This is one of the sheets on my, there's tabs down here. You can't see it on the screen. But I'll just basically close out this coin. I'll sell the whole thing and say, hey, I just made double my money on that coin, and I'll move on and play with another coin. What this does is it helps satisfy some of my ADD, and it also helps, it also pays attention to the fact that when something gets pumped, it's bound to come down pretty hard after that. So I'm just happy to take my winnings. So that's just a little tweak in the system. If you see really big gains, you can sell off. Otherwise, just keep following the system. Over time, it'll keep making you at steady 1% a day if you're a little more patient than me. All right, so that's a quick look at the spreadsheet. You may be somebody watching this who's way better at working with spreadsheets than I am. If you find a hole in this, don't get mad at me. Maybe I calculated something wrong, but I think it's working pretty well. And if you have any improvements, you feel free to suggest them to me, Ryan@CoinDripper.com. So let's look back here at the sheet. Make sure I covered everything. Yep, you're basically daily recording, using the sheet, buying or selling based on what it tells you. Bonus thoughts and tips. This stuff is really risky. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Seriously, there's so many people coming in now. They're like maxing out their credit cards. No, if you have an extra $100 a week, and I'll share my story. I got into Bitcoin in 2015. I could comfortably auto buy $100 a week. So I used Coinbase, about $100 a week, transferred from my bank. I didn't think about it. It was an amount that fortunately I didn't care about. And what happened, of course, that dollar cost averaged in for a year, and then Bitcoin went up. So you should come up with what that number is for you. Stick to, maybe you add a new coin a week following this system, but do not use money that you're going to use for food or whatever else. It's really dumb. All right, next, diversifying coins help reduce the risk of one coin tanking and killing your gains. I've personally been tempted to just like stick with Bitcoin and Ether or Neo, like one of the big top 10 coins, and just use this. But in the back of my head, there's fear that what if that one coin tanks totally and never comes back up? So the point of diversifying coins, having 3 or 5 going at all times, is just to help you rest easier there. Also, I don't have it here. It's also a good idea to use multiple exchanges. I like to do that. It's a little extra work, but what happens if one exchange where you have your coins sitting gets hacked? Right, so use multiple exchanges. Another technique I'll use if you happen to be somebody who has a really big stash. I'll keep some of my stash in the cold wallet, but have like 20% of it in the trading exchange. But the numbers all still work the same, and you'll know what that means if you know what that means, right? If you're really worried about an exchange getting hacked, but the best thing to do there, keep your coins across multiple exchanges, and you won't lose sleep that one exchange gets tanked. Avoid investing in coins that had a big pump. I just mentioned that. If something just went up crazy, don't invest in it tomorrow. Don't believe the hype machine. You're going to see people on Reddit talking about it like crazy. Just kind of leave it alone. Look for stuff that's moving a little more sideways, or maybe recently went down, but you think that there's a reason why it's done going down. Don't catch the falling knife, but use your best judgment there. Because the market is so volatile, something that just went up so much is likely not to keep going. If you see a coin that is exploding in value, you can gamble and skip a day to let your winners run. So the counterpoint to what I just made is that if something is really going up and you feel like selling is going to hurt in the long term, that's on you. You're trying to time the market. I'll confess, I've done that a few times when it was clear to me that I thought it was going to go a few more days. And basically, the point of this is that, hey, we're doing 1% a day, but maybe you just skip a day, right? You just say, hey, let me see what happens till tomorrow so that I don't sell too soon or buy in too soon if you really think things are dipping fast. It's okay to totally sell your whole position in a coin after a big increase in price. I mentioned that. I've closed a number of coins at 100% ROI. And then bonus tip, consider coins, if you're going to be doing this with one coin long term, consider coins that pay dividends and give other rewards. So Neo, OMG, KuCoin shares, the Binance, the exchange tokens, KuCoin in particular, which pays you a bunch of different stuff. It might be cool to look at coins like that. It'll help you inch up that 1%. That you're getting. KuCoin, for example, will give you little dust amounts of weird new coins that they're launching on their exchange. But I've seen this over past few months. As those coins go up, it actually becomes a tangible amount and will help your overall return on investment. And then finally, people ask me, what about fees? Aren't fees going to eat you up? Yeah, they're going to eat you up a little bit, but not as much as the stock market will. And if you use an exchange like Binance or KuCoin, where you can own a little bit of a coin and get your trading fees down to half of a tenth of a percent, you can just factor that into the equation. In fact, in the multiplying here, I don't do it, but you could always go like this, whatever the number would be, and adjust the multiple to account for fees if you want to. But yeah, try to stick with exchanges that charge lower fees. Bittrex is a little more expensive than Binance, for example. So I rarely do this on Bittrex for that reason. All right, and that's about it. Created this page. I have a closing note here. I created this page because a lot of crypto newbies running around chasing the next hottest thing. This is kind of a fail-safe way for you to not get burned too hard in a down market and to have a structure to your trading from day to day. So any thoughts or comments, questions, Ryan at coindripper.com. Do whitelist me in your email. I probably sent you an email. I'll send any modifications to the system moving forward. And who knows, maybe I'll share a coin or two that I'm investing in. If you're interested in that, you can let me know and you want to get those, want to know how this is going. Just make sure you whitelist my emails and they don't go into spam. And I'll be in touch. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.